Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bacon, I make plans for 7:45, and I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Hurrah. Yeah, baby. We're back again. It is Monday, and it is CFN Live Time. And you know what? I am so happy, glad, and honored to see all of you with us again tonight. Lots of announcements, so I don't want to delay. I do want to say this to our folks in Manitoba on the borders of Ontario and the waterways that are connected, that connect those two provinces. Our prayers and thoughts are with you. I know you guys have been hit hard. The Prairie Gals, who is right now doing their best to try and video for the CFN fish off, are having a heck of a time because they can't get to any water. It's dangerous. They're suggesting that some fisheries, or at least some anglers, should stay away from some fisheries for the sake of the fact that the water temperatures still haven't warmed up. They don't even have buds on the trees out there. Not to mention, there's a whole bunch of property and land and cities and small towns that are underwater. And the bad news is they're getting more water and more rain as we speak. So to all of our folks in Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario, stay safe, stay dry, and hopefully you come out of this at some point soon. Because as I said, it looks like the worst is still yet to come. But yeah, thoughts and prayers are with you. Of course, I want to give a big shout out, and I know he's here because I saw his name. Eve, are you here? Where are you, Eve? There you are. Now, I'm going to get your last name wrong, so I apologize. Eve Bazinet. I'm hoping that is correct. Yeah, I can't think of any other way to say it. Eve, he wanted me to give a big shout out, congratulations to him as he came home with first place on this past weekend. The Ottawa Valley South Bassmaster Club had a multi-species tournament. It was an event that was on Mississippi Lake, and Eve managed to come home with first place. So big shout out to you, Eve. Also a big happy birthday to Chris McDougall, our beloved Chris McDougall. Hoping you're coping, hoping you're comfortable, and our thoughts are always with you in your battle, your current battle. Hopefully you're able to celebrate a nice birthday. Let's just say that. But our thoughts are with you, Chris, and hopefully you're enjoying your day. Of course, I can't do this without mentioning the importance of our CFN apparel and Fish Whip apparel. If Babs has done a fantastic job promoting the heck out of this, putting this stuff together and getting it together very, very quick. She's had several orders. So on behalf of all of us here at CFN, thanks so much for your purchase and your devotion, your dedication, your loyalty. Yes, it has been a rocky road when it comes to CFN and CFN apparel, but I'm hoping, well, I know we've got this right this time with Fish Whip and the work that Babs is doing. I have no fears, but it is a really cool CFN super pack. It includes a buff of your choice, a boat flag, and the color of hat, as you see on the ad. So as I said, if you have any questions, have any concerns, want to know how much it is, how much shipping costs, this, that, and everything else, please reach out to Babs at Fish Whip Apparel. But thanks to everyone who's ordered something so far. It means a lot. Really does. That continued faith in what it is we're doing here. As I said, hits home. Can't thank you enough. Of course, our sticker packs. thanks to the two of you that have purchased sticker packs. As I said, the first sticker is $10, no matter what size, whether it's the 4-inch, the 6-inch, or the 8-inch. Now, here's where it gets interesting: is the additional sticker you wish. Whether it be the 4-inch, it's only $1, so $11 total. That includes your shipping. $2 if you want a 6-inch additional one, so that'd be $12, and then $5 if you want the 8-inch sticker, which would be $15. And of course, that's 2 stickers of your choice, depending on the size, and it includes shipping. So Tony, Barry, Sally, I've got yours together. Unfortunately, I think they put the wrong stamp on it, and I've never had this happen before, but the 2 packages I sent out were returned to sender because there was insufficient postage. Who knew? Anyway, someone got it wrong, and I apologize for that, but it will be on its way shortly, very, very shortly. Also want to recap our CFN retreats, starting with our Western retreat, July 10th to 16th at Jan Lake Lodge. It's booked. So all those who have booked already, thank you. You guys are going to have, guys and gals are going to have a fantastic time. But it's booked. It's solid. So unless there's a cancellation, that one, unfortunately, which is our inaugural Western retreat, is booked solid. And I'm really excited to see all the pics and videos that come out of that. Of course, our beloved Horwood and our 4th annual CFN retreat. And here's just a little taste, because we got lots to get to today. Here's just a little taste of Horwood. In case you're on the fence, if you're on the fence, I get it. I totally understand. Gas prices are through the roof, this, that, and everything else. This just might be enough to get you off that fence and call Horwood Lake. Yes, it is. It awaits. It awaits. Horwood Lake Lodge. Reach out to Warren and Dorse and get your butt booked in a bed so that we can see you August 14th to the 20th. Do not delay. That's going to be a heck of a time. I can't wait to go. I've got Dave Helmer, if he's on here tonight. Dave Helmer is sending me pics already of some of the walleye he's catching. Dave, just make sure there's some there for us in August, dude. Holy smokes. The fishing is fantastic right now up there. And I was talking to Moose today, and we're going to talk about the Camp McIntosh OFC Nation retreat. And of course, it is a bit of a buzz right now, not only because of the OFC Nation retreat, but it is our catchphrase for the CFN fish off. And Mike and I are going to be talking about that momentarily. But I was talking to Moose, and he said, holy smokes, Scottie. The fishing up this way is everything you said it was. It's just been phenomenal for walleye. They've had a fantastic go. Him and his buddies that are up there. Huge shout out to Moose, who's going to be booking with Tracy. More, like I would say, probably within the next day. I just got to send over the number. So Camp McIntosh, of course, is in September. That is the date. It's 3 days, 2 nights, September 23rd to 25th. And of course, it is our catchphrase for this week in the CFN fish off. And I think it's time. But before we bring this in, I want to thank Ugly Boys Baits, who of course were our catchphrase last week, and their continued support of our CFN fish off. I tell you, it's an everyday feature, not a Friday feature. The Ugly Boy Bait family has done us very, very proud here at CFN, and we can't thank them enough. So without any further delay, let's bring in Mike and find out if we have an update or 3 from the CFN fish off. How we doing tonight, Mike?
Hey. Good to see you, Scottie.
You as well, my friend.
So, quick update. The catchphrase for this week, and this will last from Monday all the way till Sunday, and then come Sunday midnight, we'll give you a new phrase. Sometimes it's live, sometimes we'll just post it. Depends if we could stay up that late. This week, it's the OVC retreat is at Camp McIntosh. You might say CFN retreats at Camp McIntosh, OFC Nation retreats. You just got to get Camp McIntosh in there. You got to get retreat in there, because we want people to know that those 3 days and 2 nights, we want you to join us, because we're going to have a CFN fish off live every day that we're there at Camp McIntosh. So come join us. And this is just a little promo, and thank you for that.
Absolutely. And yes, David, there were lots of pretty fish. There were lots of pretty fish that were entered. And Mike, as I said, we've been talking to Roselle and Jocelyn out in Manitoba. They're having a heck of a go when it comes to the weather that they're dealing with. You know, it's hard to complain. That's why I've got the hoodie. I have the hoodie on out of respect for them, because I know they're dealing with temperatures that are way below 10 degrees. They're inclement weather, this, that, and everything else. Here it is balmy. And yes, I've got perspiration, sweat, whatever you want to call it, dripping down my back. But I don't want to rub it in, because they are dealing with some unbelievable weather out there. And it goes far beyond the fish off and the ability to fish, but of course, lots of property damage and injuries that are going to be caused of this. So, and the worst is yet to come.
So I want people to let them know, join us tomorrow, because we have our first Shimano draw tomorrow. And so if you have a perch, a walleye, or a sauger, that can give you up to 1, 2, 3 ballots for our draw. Some of you might have 1 ballot because you only caught a perch. Some of you might have 3 ballots. And so the team name that we pull out, you will get 2 Shimano combos, which is awesome. And before I leave, Scott, if you could share my screen, I want to show people something. It's only been 10 days, maybe this day 11. And check this out, Scottie. So what I love about the Anglers Atlas Lab, it tells you right there. It is live, and we have 20 days, 4 hours, and 46 minutes remaining. But over those 10 days where we had the Ugly Boys Baits code, there has been 912 entries. Scottie, 10 days, almost 1,000 fish.
Are you serious?
900. And look, this is why we love the app. People are like, why did you migrate to the app? If you ask every single judge why we migrated to the app, the answer is simple. So let me go to participant entries right here. If I just keep scrolling, it goes 900 entries. And what's great about the app is, let's go to approval status. Let's just go to the ones that have not been approved yet, pending. And I could sort this by angler, by team, by species. And let's do an easy one that doesn't need Ken's ID help. Let's go to, all right, let's go to this Northern Pike by Des. And this one, as you can see here, is still pending. Is it a Northern Pike? Yes. I'm going to put approved. And let me just rotate that, which is amazing feature. And it looks like it's beyond the bump board. Look at the quality of that picture taken with the app. And here's the thing, because this is for scientific research, we can't go guessing how long this fish is. If your bump board is only going to 22 inches, then that is the most that we can give this fish. 22 inches. Isn't that cool, Scottie, how I could just zoom in like that?
Yeah, you know, and Mike, I think Christina was saying about only 1 ballot for angler management team for a walleye, and I know there's been some hiccups for some of you. It has been a bit of it's a change. It's 180-degree difference from what we did last year. I would say perhaps maybe at first view it was a little bit more forgiving last year's method of submitting your catches, but as Mike has just shown, how accurate in great detail. So 912 of you have got it right. If some of you are struggling, please, by all means, reach out to Mike, myself, and we'll point you in the right direction. The only thing, of course, we don't love is when we see the negativity. And in some cases, as Mike had said, it's just a simple little fix. It's something that perhaps maybe the angler isn't doing right. They're not looking at the app correctly, what have you, but we're here to help. So if you can take that extra step and reach out to either Mike and I, we will point you in the right direction, either to the judges or just on how to use the app. Yeah, by all means, this is amazing, Mike. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah. And you know what the judges love? These crosshairs. So I could put these crosshairs right at the end of the tail here, and it would tell me the length. But for this one, they put 25. We can't guess. We can only give it 22. Approved, saved, done. And that's how easy it is.
Now, David's saying the only problem with the app is I can't see fish my partner has entered. If you can click on the angler, you should be able to see their catches, should you not, Mike?
So let's try that. Let's go to tournaments and let's go to the CFN Fish Off. Here's all the teams here. So our first place team, 79 points. Let's click that. And then it shows you their breakdown of their 79 points.
Okay. But
now,
you should be able
angler?
Yeah.
Let us see. Can you see the angler? I don't know if you can. I have to ask how I would see my team's points. But here's
what I
know the fish that they've caught. So if I know my partner has caught a common carp.
Yeah.
Then I could find my friend's fish here. One of the reasons why we want people to upload their catches to Facebook and use the code is, one, it pays tribute to our sponsors.
Yeah.
And two, it gets the community involved. So the community has like 4,000 people on the page, but only 400 that are participating in the tournament. So when you post it on there, it allows the spectators to see it. It allows other competitors to comment on it. So it really gets the community involved. So that's definitely one way that you could share your catches with the page and with community. And if your partner shares it that way, that's an easy way for you to see what your partner has caught.
So there's a lot of great questions here, Mike, and I'd love to answer all of them while you're here. But
tomorrow,
that's why we do Tourney Tuesdays tomorrow. So Eric, Christina, David, and anyone, Nicholas, just no one get any bass bigger than me. Yeah, that we can't help you with. We can certainly discuss it tomorrow, Nicholas, but I can't guarantee it. We'll have an answer for you. Amanda, all of you who have great questions, by all means, please join us tomorrow, and we will discuss all that, as well as, Mike, I do believe we're giving something away tomorrow.
We are giving away the Shimano combos. And Scottie, you weren't there last Tuesday. We already gave this away.
Oh, the early bird? You did the early bird?
Yeah, the early bird and everything in this bag. So that'll be shipped out once I get this into Scottie's hands and your proper address. This will be shipped out to you.
And can't stress that enough. Please write it down so that you want it to look exactly the way it should on the package, on the shipping document. If there are any problems, and trust me, I go over it, I'll have somebody else look at it before I send it. If it doesn't get to the location that you have put as your address and it comes back to me, I will reach out to you once, but it is to our discretion whether we send it again, because we have to then pay again for shipping. So if you don't put your address down correctly, I might be able to help you, but I can't guarantee, because as I said, we've sent stuff in some cases 2 or 3 times, and it costs us every time we do. So please send your address correctly. Mike, on that note, dude, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Shimano draw, another recap, and we'll answer all your questions. So come join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
Right on, buddy. You take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Okay. We had a really cool thing on the weekend. Jim does this event, and unfortunately, because of COVID, he has not been able to run it like he used to. And what was really cool was it's a community-driven event. Watching parents with their kids walk down the road to enter into this incredible. I loved it. It really touched me to see that many kids enjoying fishing. Jim and Tammy put this on with a host of volunteers. And to introduce Jim's segment, I want you guys to have a look at what I was able and honored to experience with my buddy Steve Shaw and the rest of the volunteers. And thanks to Gord Routcliffe, Malachi Briggs, as I said, Steve Shaw, and anyone else who shared pictures and allowed us to put this video together. Have a look. Nice job, bud. You caught one. Yeah. Nice job. Give me a high five. Yeah, baby. Well, Jim, I tell you, it was a great event. It was an honor to be there for A-Rod, Steve, and Gord, and a whole host of others that volunteered. Thanks for doing that, bud.
No, I appreciate that. It's really cool. It's very rewarding. But my God, this year it just seemed like it was so hard to do for me. I've just been feeling so crappy, and with Tammy, she came down for 10 minutes and that was it, and she's gone for the day. But she has the emergency 15-day later MRI tomorrow afternoon, so that's good. So
awesome.
It will solve some more stuff. Hey, I just realized something when you were showing that. Why did you show the tuna? Nobody knows there's tuna here. I've been eating sashimi now. I'm the only person that knew the tuna were here, and you showed
You know what it was? The reason I did that, I thought of it when I was putting it together, Jim. And that girl was so proud to show her fish, and the size of fish. And of course, it was a bass. And without getting everybody all upset and whatever, and I know it's only probably, I think she was 4. I think she was 4 or 5 years old. I thought, you know what? Because she was so proud of it, let's make it a whale. So we did. I went.
When a bass out of season eats a piece of worm 1/4 of an inch long, nobody's trying to catch bass.
No, but the fact that she was just so proud of how big of a fish that she caught, I thought, you know what? Let's blow it up. Let's make it bigger than it actually was.
Yeah, she was lit up, eh?
Oh yeah, dude, like really lit up. That was amazing to see.
Doesn't take sometimes we take so much for granted about fishing. Like, I take somebody out now, and I guess it's just from having done it for years. I mean, I'll throw a jig underneath the tree, and I'll feel the fish. I'll set the hook and hand them the rod.
Yeah.
It's all about the other people now. Like I've caught zillions of fish. Not that I don't like to catch fish anymore. Don't get me wrong there. That's not true at all. On certain days there, I've had a couple of times Chong's sort of looked at me in the boat and said to me, Jesus, you're so competitive. It's what it is.
It's your nature, and totally understandable. But at the end of the day, what has always set, I would say, you aside from maybe a few people or a handful of people or the rest of the community, I've always heard, Jim, what you give back to the kids and getting kids involved and your connection. You can see it, your connection with the kids. Dude, as I said, if this event doesn't continue, it'll be a sad day for all of those kids.
It'll go on. It was really funny because I said to a couple of the guys that called me last night, they were there, like Pepe and some of the other guys that were there, and I said to them, well, as you could tell, I wasn't exactly in top form yesterday. It was just a shit day for me. It's the only way to put it. And I said that, and Pepe came back to me and he said to me, well, what the hell do you think we're here for?
Yeah.
We're here to do everything. It's you can't do it without friends. Even you couldn't do it 20 years ago. You can't do it. You need more people. So it works out great, and it was really nice. It's one of the few times in my life that we didn't have an issue.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't complain that the worm that their kid got was shorter than the one that the other kid got. Or there's always something that seems so trivial, and it didn't happen this year. So that was awesome.
One thing that I want to mention, I wrote down, as much as it was a shout out to all the volunteers and all who helped, the parents, I can't thank you all enough. You made that event easy. And when I say easy, you got kids running around. You're trying to keep, their focus on what they're doing. There's hooks flying around, this, that, and everything else. The parents, big shout out to you. You really made that event. And just as Jim said, there was no drama or what have you. We managed to give away some really cool prizes, including that wagon.
Yeah. Did you see it all put together?
Wow, man. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was really, really cool. That's been that's been sitting around for a little while. Apparently, it's they were going to use it. They had it for another event, and then the event didn't go, and they had it there. So it was pretty. Yeah, just like Steve said too, the amount of stuff we had for the kids. You know, I mean, all those boxes. What we do is we get a bag for them. We give them a tote bag or a loot bag, and they just go along and they take one thing out of every box. You know, it could be a bag of power baits, then a bag of X Zone tails, mustad fish hooks. You know, we had buffs from Bart. We had all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and
you had Mad Can Plastics. You had Mad Can Plastics. I saw Fish Whip buffs. There was lots of Berkeley products there that you got. I don't know, was that from American Bait Works? You had some Jim Van Ryan stuff from X Zone and just a host of stuff.
Candy the guy brought down for the kids, little bags of candy.
Yeah. That anyway, it was a truly great event. All that came went away with a smile, and you've just furthered the passion yet again. What was amazing too, of course, is if you threw plastic, and I walked around the docks and I was talking to some of the anglers. Some had some seasoned amateurs, I will say, novice maybe perhaps, and they were using plastics. No, you know what worked? A hook and a worm. That's what worked. And I think I got that advice from about 12 kids. Scottie, you got to use a hook and a worm. Never mind your plastics.
Yeah, I used some little micro stuff a few years ago, about 4 years ago, doing it with them. And I was going along bugging them, telling them I could catch more fish than them, you know, whatever else. Apparently I couldn't.
That's hilarious.
There's something about a piece of worm and a panfish, right?
Yep.
And just a little teensy piece and a nice long hook.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get out of the mouth.
So one thing that I noticed too this weekend out by your place is, of course, the water is up, which, you know, is normal, I guess, for this time of year. But our folks out in Manitoba are dealing with unbelievable water levels right now. And it sounds like it's only going to get worse. Extraordinary, though, Jim. You know, Roselle is sharing a lot of the stuff that is being shared in their community. And I think it's absolutely remarkable that you've got anglers that are buying into the fact that, you know, the water temperatures haven't warmed up enough. They don't even have buds on the trees, and they're being pleaded with not to go and target walleye or anything
they're
else.
doing that down in the U.S. too.
It's incredible. Like, and the fact that us anglers are buying into it. I've never seen anything like this. Have you? Have you ever seen?
No. I just think it's the epitome of, you know, it comes down to morals.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so you get a year where you can absolutely decimate the fish. Might not be good to do. You know, just because you can catch a bunch, because in a few years you'll pay the price for it. You can only take so many fish, and when you get them when they're spawning, it's just, you know, that's what, you know. There's a lot of the rules are there, and you know, like a lot of them are based on, you know, on whatever science that they do have and that they have to work with it, and they don't get it right all the time, but you know, like 90% of the time or more, they do get it right, and that's why they're asking you to to do this. You know, we've seen lakes. The pressure up here in the north has never been the same as it is in the States, and I mean, there's lakes. You know, like the question is, like they used to say in the States. I've heard Al Linder say that, you know, they'd be asked and they'd say, "Can you kill a lake?" And people would say, "Oh no, there's lots of fish," you know, and well, that's wrong. It can be done. You can only take so many out. Mother Nature, you know, can only take so many curveballs, and like they just don't need that. You know what'll happen next year? They'll bother all these fish. There's these floods this year. They don't get to spawn, or they spawn and then the water drops fast and the eggs are left high and dry, which happened here years ago in the Rideau River. They had some big construction things and they dropped the water after it was really flooded high. And the walleye in the Rideau River took an absolute kicking. They just, you know, like they lost three quarters or more of a year of the spawn because the fish had all spawned on the rocks higher up because they had access to places that they spawned. And then all of a sudden, boom, the water dropped. So they're all high and dry. So that happens out west next year. And then the fish, you know, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of them gone. Whole bunch of them caught this year. They don't get eggs, and yet there's other places like Lake Erie where they're just getting spawns that they say are just, you know, they've had, I think, 2 or 3 of the 4 or 5 biggest ever, you know, almost in the last 2 or 3 years or something. I'm not exactly sure. I just remember reading something about it. But I thought, wow, that's incredible. And no wonder that they're almost urging the charter guys to go out and catch fish. There's literally, so many fish. So it's, it won't be like that a decade from now. And it won't be because of anything we do. It'll just be Mother Nature doing her thing.
Finding a balance. Absolutely. I think it's a good time to put in a public service announcement. It is boating season, and make sure you put the plug in the right hole.
Little inside joke there.
Little inside joke. The other thing too, in all seriousness, and you could tell it was this chap's first time to the Rand. He showed up. It looked like a full-size boat to me, 16, 17 footer anyway. He had a Honda Civic, two-door Honda Civic towing it. I'm not trying to make fun of the chap. It's just one thing I need to stress. It's about respect, and watching this guy take an incredible amount of time to get his boat ready.
And he's blocking 3/4 of the area.
Yeah. Only to have to take it back out because he put the plug in the wrong hole. Just be respectful when you're on the ramps. I know I'm speaking to the wrong people when I speak to you folks, but
I want to know what the other hole was for, though.
I'm thinking it was probably the live well hole. I don't know. I mean, he only had 2 to choose from, and he had a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and he got it wrong. But I knew it wasn't going to end well when you show up in a 2-door hatchback Civic pulling a 17-foot whatever it was.
It had to be over an hour. He was at the boat launch.
At least, yeah.
Blocking one whole side of it. And,
yeah.
The kids out, and then the mother running around with the kids, and just no concern for everybody else trying to back down.
No. So as I said, it's a public service announcement. I thought it was a good to bring in here. A-Rod from Madcam. We all got a bit of a chuckle as we watched, but sympathized, and I love how we came to bat for the guy, and we've all done it, right? We've all put a boat in without the plug. If you've owned a boat for a number of years, I think we're all guilty of it, myself included.
No, I've never done it. I was a highly tuned professional. Is my nose growing?
Well, Jim, listen, we don't want to pass you on and fire you away without asking you what you've got planned for the week. We know we've got the MRI with Tammy.
Well, I would say that I would sleep, but I won't do. Isn't it bad when you have to stay up late, so you wake up at 4 instead of like 2:30 or something?
Yeah.
Because once I go to sleep, I wake up. That's it. It's done. So
100%.
I do it. Yeah, we got that tomorrow. I got to go get my blood taken tomorrow morning. Keep the cancer doctor happy. And Tammy's MRI's in the afternoon. I spent a lot of the day here today working on the summer issue of the paper. We got that going. I was talking to Pfizer and Brosdahl today. Got some good content coming from them, and I got a good thing in the door today from Al Lidner talking about crappies in the summertime. So that's going to be kind of interesting.
Yes, and of course someone that snores, and I think Steve and I are both guilty of that for keeping you up. So
I don't know. What do you mean?
Yeah. I'm just blaming it on the fresh air, all that beautiful fresh air up at Seals.
And when I get up at 3:30 to make the pancakes for Pepe.
Yes, exactly. The three.
He sent me about 5 notes since. I told him, I said, I'm going to take a drive down to Trenton. I'm going to knock on your door, and when you open it, the last thing you're going to see is this coming at you.
That's
he
hilarious.
was laughing.
Good
I
advice.
think I'm going to get some pancakes and put them in a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to mail them to him.
There you go. That hopefully that shuts him up. Captain Ruiz, yes, that's a great advice right there. A good reminder if you are, for whatever reason, of course, he's saltwater, so that can get a little scary if you don't put the plug in the right hole. But on that note, Jim, listen, I can't thank you enough for hosting Steve and I like you did, and really just outside of just that kids event that you had on the weekend, just laying, as I said, the foundation of what it is that we should all be aspiring to be when it comes to the fishing community and mentors to, newcomer and next gen anglers. You have been a role model for all of us. And as I said, you have really laid.
When I was getting into it, I had so many people help me, and they didn't help me because there was no, they only helped me because they wanted to help somebody. You know, because back then in the very beginning, I mean, I had some wondrous help. So it's all good. You know, it's all good.
Right on, bud.
Cool.
You take care. Get some
Everybody
sleep.
got some fish. I can't believe that you said they caught almost 1,000 fish so far.
912 entries, and that was confirmed entries. I know there's even more, and that's just in a week of fishing.
My kids
Phenomenal.
do that in a day and a half out the back.
Right on, dude. You take care, bud.
Okay, kiddies.
Stay smiling.
Be
All
good.
the best.
I'm trying, buddy.
Attaboy.
Take care, pal. Okay.
What I can't say enough. Just absolutely incredible. Great gentleman, and when you see him interact with the kids, you understand why they call him Big Jim, because he's got a huge heart and he's a big teddy bear. But don't tell him I said that, because no, just kidding. Anyway, I have something I have to share. Lawrence wanted me to share this before his segment. It has a really big walleye in it, but it's a really cool video. It is a couple minutes long, so get comfortable, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a look at this.
When I'm on the water, my world expands. There's no walls, there's no ceilings. There's nothing to shut in what I'm hearing, what I'm sensing. My place in the universe becomes very small. I've been fishing all my life. I went blind when I was 8, but it gave me a really good sense of both how to feel what's going on underwater and to visualize what's happening in those spaces that so many of us have no idea what's going on. I'm Lawrence Gunther. I'm the founder and president of Bluefish Canada. It's a charity about water quality, fish health, and the future of sustainable fishing. I realized there was a need out there to teach the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts how to fish responsibly, how to fish sustainably. People are worried about fish. We need to get good information out there so people have the knowledge to make the right decisions. We're standing down here on the shore of the Upper St. Lawrence River in Cardinal, Ontario, right next to a giant cornstarch factory. I mean, this factory is just huge, and it's one of many giant factories that stood along the shore of the Great St. Lawrence River over the last 150 years. There's been a lot of ecological damage done to the river, as the entire Great Lakes. We need to know about this. We need to share this information. We need anglers to be the leaders, to be citizen scientists. That's a vital aspect of being an environmental champion. You know, anglers want to play that role, and anglers can learn too how to observe water. We're always doing it, but we don't necessarily have the tools to properly document. I love fishing. I love being on the water. It gives me a sense of peace. It gives me a sense of the ability to, you know, provide for my family, for my community, to connect with nature. I want to be able to share what I've learned, and I want to be a voice for others who have that knowledge as well and who have those stories. There's a lot of great things going on out there, person by person, fish by fish, shore by shore, and we can all learn from that and be inspired by that.
Well, Lawrence, what a piece yet again. As I said, dude, you always seem to do fantastic work when it comes to putting videos together. First and foremost, how are you this evening? How was your weekend? And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Oh, I'm doing well, buddy. I'm doing well. It sounds like everything went well. There's so many youth fishing programs going on. It's just fantastic. So many anglers are giving back, and it's quite often the anglers that have the most experience. The ones who realize when they look back on their lives and their careers that they now need to sort of pass on that knowledge and pass on that torch. And and I hope that younger anglers take a lesson on that, that they need to also take up that torch and become the next mentors and the next sort of people that inspire young people. It's so important. Like, I took a path myself where I want to inspire people to be more environmentally conscious and speak on behalf of fish and their environments, because that's an important thing of what we all believe in, and just giving people the tools so that they can do that effectively. I think that's another whole piece of the puzzle as well.
100%. And I will say this, that every once in a while, I'm really glad that you remind us that you are blind, because some of the things that you aspire and struggle with and fight for on our behalf. Sometimes maybe even myself, I can say I take it for granted, but I'm glad you remind us every once in a while that you do have a vision disability, because, dude, you'd never know. Like, honest, you'd never know.
Well, I could spend my whole life just, advocating on behalf of people with vision loss. And I have done a lot of that over the years. I'll admit to it, and I earned a bit of a reputation as a snowplow, not just, making my own way through life, but clearing the path for those with vision loss that come behind me. And I think those lessons about advocacy that I learned at a very young age, just getting an education through high school when kids with disabilities weren't allowed to go to regular high schools. They were put into, separate, segregated sort of residential school systems for different disabilities. But I hung in there. But I took those lessons of how to advocate. And I think, I don't want to just advocate for blindness issues. I want to advocate for something that I can actually do well at on behalf of everybody and nature, and be that voice, be that storyteller, right? That traditional storyteller and that voice for that silent world.
Yeah. Also, for and again, we take it for granted, but we get to see how to hold a fish, and even when we have vision, we sometimes get it wrong. We drop a fish, we grab it by its gill plate, and I cringe even just to say that. But to see you able to handle a fish with your disability, release it, as Sally just mentioned, it warms our heart. And good on you, bud.
Man, when I stick my hand into the net and my my buddies know there's a fish in there with hooks hanging out of its mouth, sharp teeth and gills, and they go, "Lawrence, be careful." And they all say it, right? They can't help but say, because they just see my hand going in, and they think, "Oh my God, he's just going to stick his hand right into the mouth of that pike or that or right into the hook."
Yeah.
But I'm pretty focused, so, and I just knock on wood, I normally get away without getting injured.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, when I saw the piece, my first reaction is, you know what, Lawrence, you really should do a better job on describing what fishing means to you. I don't think you open up enough.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Dude,
it's not easy. It's not easy.
It isn't. And, some people, it might not receive it well.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, I really like how you tie it in to what it means to you and your soul, because I think all of us, and show of hands, we don't just fish because we enjoy the catch. We enjoy everything about it, and we have our sensory abilities to do not only that, but also, witness and be in awe of what it is that we catch and the surroundings around us. While, as I said, I don't know, it's just different from what I can see because of your disability, that you are so eloquent on how you explain how it enriches your soul. But good on you. Great video. What else is going on in Bluefish Canada news?
Well, we just got a big shipment from the International Game Fish Association, and with 20 beautiful fishing rods and reels and all sorts of educational materials. So, we're stepping up our game as well on the youth trading program area, and very happy to. We often partner with other organizations. We're partnering with Ottawa Muskie Factory to put on 6 weeks of courses this summer, and a bunch of other groups as well, Earth Rangers and Water Rangers as well, right? Water Rangers is the one who put that video together with me, and they've been handing out water testing kits to young people now for the last 10 years. And they're one of the foremost organizations in Canada that work with young people and engage them on how to assess water quality and document water quality. And we've agreed that there's a lot of young people who want to do that and who want to fish too. And they want to do both. So we're looking to now on developing a water testing kit that young anglers can use. And that gets into like what's in the water that's harmful to the fish. And what about if we to come across a fish kill? Can we get proper samples? Because as well as I do, fish kills disappear pretty quick. Chemicals dissipate, dead fish get swept away by current, by wind. So all the evidence gets totally blown away, and before you can even get any sort of samples or official samples taken, it's often gone. And anglers are often the first ones on the scene. So looking at that, and then what about the legal liabilities if we're giving a kit that's going to look at water samples and chemical samples? Are we going to say that, okay, you tested the water, it's fine, that means the fish in that area are safe to eat? Because that's not necessarily a given either, right? Like those walleyes we were catching there in front of that big starch factory, and I'm not saying this is the starch factory's doing, but if you look at the fish consumption advisories and the regulations for Ontario, you can keep the big ones, a number of the big ones with a sport license, but the fish consumption advisories they recommend don't eat anything over 16 inches. And yet all these anglers, these smart, dedicated anglers, a lot of them were keeping those big fish and bringing them home to their families. Why is that? They just don't believe the fish consumption advisories? Or they just think, well, it's more, it's being overly cautious, or they just don't know, So there's, I've had a big meeting this morning about what is the duty to inform of government, to inform anglers of what these fish really contain within them. I mean, you look at labels on food packaging, and there's a lot of legal obligations on disclosure, right? All the ingredients, all the chemicals, it all has to be listed there. When we pull a fish out of the water and bring it home to feed our family, what do we know about that fish?
Great. It's a great point you bring up. And I will say the Ontario provincial government did a fantastic job back in the day. I remember if you went to Brewers Retail or the liquor store, they would always have the consumption guide there, free for charge. Just pick it up and take it home. And you could leaf through it. If you had a favorite lake, perhaps you had a cottage on a lake, you could look and you could become educated. We've gotten away from that. Now we rely on people, going on the web and Googling it or doing it electronically now. And you're right. Has the government sort of washed their hands or wiped their hands of the responsibility and liability of informing us anglers on the hazards of what it is that we could be consuming? It's a great point you bring up. And I don't know how do we fix that, Lords?
Well, we've got a team of researchers. I've assembled a team of researchers from Queen's University, the St. Lawrence River Institute, and the Canadian Environmental Law Association, and they're looking into these questions. And we just heard a preliminary report back on what they found. And I'll tell you, Scottie, exactly that. Like the Ontario government's been doing this for a long time. And we've been asking them, okay, what are the results? And last year they released all their data, but it was just a big dump, and you had to figure it all out. It wasn't a well done database or a spreadsheet or anything. It was just, and what we learned is that every 4 or 5 years, the methodology changes on what they test, where they test, the fish that they test, and then you learn, when they test a fish, when they go on to a river and gather some fish to test, they might only catch 2. And then they base the consumption guidelines on those 2 fish for the next 4 or 5 years. Or if they don't catch anything, they don't update the guidelines for 10 years. And then how they test, I tell you, just the program itself needs to be audited because it's just all over the map. And that's one aspect. We're going to get to that. We're definitely going to write a report on that. And then that whole, like I said, duty to inform aspect, the legal obligation, like cigarette packages, right? At some point they had to put on there, you smoke this is what your lungs are going to look like. And I don't want to scare people off fishing, but what I want to do is people, if they understood what the fish, some of these fish we're dealing with, we would become their best advocates. And we would say, hey, clean that mess up, man. You're hurting our fish. You're hurting us. And that would create a lot of pressure because right now it's like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, right? And that's sort of what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, 100%. And wow, it would be nice to see our advisories mirror that of our restrictions when it comes to keeping fish, targeting fish, because really at the end of the day, if your slot limit is targeting fish that you are now as a government saying you might not want to eat, or at least not eat that much of, they don't.
Yep. There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah,
no rhyme or reason.
It's counterproductive.
Keep the big ones, but don't eat them. What the hell are you supposed to do with them?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to suggest that you throw them back, but I'm only speaking from the walleye, and of course, let's say the muskie, maybe bass, salmon. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, absolutely. Big fish, in my opinion, have always produced big fish and will continue to do so. But, when it comes to the consumption guidelines, you might want to err on the side of caution and keep as small of a fish as you possibly can, because the less time it spends in the body of water, the better off you're going to be eating it.
Yeah. I mean, we were out on Sunday morning, sunrise on a nice little lake up in the Calabogie Hills. Me and my buddy and our Ottawa Region Walleye League was having a little event there, and just so nice to be out on the water when that sun peaks up with the horizon. You feel that sun warm your hands and your face, and you're like, okay, and man, I got to get at this because the fish are going to shut down with this sun. And we were catching some nice fish, no big giants, but some nice eaters, right? And just nice eating size, 14, 15, 16, a few 17s, just kept a couple, let the rest go. And we're just making sure we were catching them at depths where we weren't going to worry about barotrauma and having to fizz the fish, because you could easily, pursue those fish right into 40 and 50 feet of water and see them down there with your electronics and target them. But that's not doing the fish any favors either, right? So
no. Now I have to ask, you have done some fishing, you've been out on the water, you've wet a line, you've caught a few, as we saw in the video as well. What are you looking forward to as your next adventure, as your next journey?
Well, I've got a trip planned on Lake Ontario on July 8th, and I'm using my Shimano center pin reels. So, and I've got a charter buddy of mine. And when you're using those reels, it's just like a big giant fly reel. You wind it one way, the line comes in, and when the fish wants to run, you let go of the handle and you palm the reel, and the line's going out. They call them knuckle busters, right? Because if your hand's in the wrong place when that chinook's taking a big scream and run, and that handle starts to swack your knuckles,
Absolutely.
So that's my that's one of the few things coming up for me that I'm looking forward to. And the Muskie opener, June 18th, we have the Ottawa Muskie Canada Club is having their Kahuna Cup on the Ottawa River on June 18th. So that's a few days away, and we'll be out there competing on that as well. So, you know what? I'm all over the map when it comes to species, but how fortunate are we, right, here in Canada? And don't tell me that Canada and the fishing in Canada is all messed up and it's all ruined and it's all going down the tubes. We have so much good fishing in Canada. We're so blessed. I think might be one of the best countries in the world for fishing.
Absolutely. And all we could do as anglers and stewards of the land is make it even better than it already is. Lawrence, as always, dude, thanks so much for joining us, and a great video yet again. We look forward to your next journey and you sharing a lot of what it means to you and your soul.
Thanks, Scottie, and thanks for giving me the chance to share and reach out to the CFNers across Canada. And thanks, everyone, for taking the time to listen.
Right on. And right after this, we got Jay Barnucz and his sponsor.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural, man-made. Every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
J-Dog in the house.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much, dude. Well, listen, I know you've been out fishing. You've managed to get some points. I'm blown away. 912 entries. I don't know from how many different anglers, but as I said, after the first day, we had amassed something like 38 different species. So, listen, to your efforts and all the other participants, big shout out to you. You've managed to figure out how to use the app. I know you love the app, Jay. You can't say enough about it, but maybe, touch on that a little bit before we go on to anything else.
Yeah, like it's cool, man. Like I love going in. So now I can like read my stats. So if you use the trip function, you can actually it'll actually analyze your trips for you. Like how many fish per hour, how many species you've caught, where your focus is. It's really cool. Like there's some stuff in the app so I know not everyone's using the trip function, but I use the trip function. So if I'm going out, so yesterday we fished, and I won't lie, man, trying to find a fishing spot on a nice Sunday afternoon in Southern Ontario, it's tough. Yeah. I like being by myself. And we're shore fishing just because there's a few oddball species we're looking for, and I think that's our best chance. And we drove around. I was with Trevor and his buddy Owen, who fished with us last year in the fish off. And we burnt some gas yesterday trying to find I'm going to say they were secluded spots, but they're not secluded to everybody on a nice Sunday afternoon. But anyways, you hit the trip function, and it logs how many hours, like a timer, how many hours you fish. And then at the end, it tells you how many fish you caught during your trip. And you don't have to just enter the fish you enter in the fish off. You can enter as many fish as you want. So, to pass the time, I entered a few fish that I knew weren't upgrades, but just for interest. I'm just I'm sitting on a dock watching two teenagers run around fishing. And basically I'm just more or less the weigh-in station, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm just sitting there that picture of Jim with the baseball bat, that infamous picture. Yeah. So I'm just sitting there with my handlebars measuring board in my lawn chair. I got my rod and a stick, and I'm just sitting there and I'm watching Trevor and Owen just running around this park catching fish. And I heard Jim mention about out of season bass. It's amazing how many largemouth you catch on a 1/4 inch of worm on a jig head, right?
It's true. It's true. And we saw it this past weekend. These fish weren't on beds. They were just in cover. I don't even know if they were, mature enough to spawn. But dude, I tell you, it was a testament to you. And I think of you every time that I see parents acting like parents. They've put their pole down. They are focused on their kid and the passion and what they're doing as opposed to fishing themselves. But it was a great event, fantastic event. And that one girl, I'll tell you, I won't forget that from this past weekend. She was so excited, as A-Rod even mentioned. She went around to all of us, couldn't wait to show us all the fish. And anyway, that's what makes it all worthwhile. So,
and it's great to see these events getting back up and running again. I have a couple this summer that I'm working back with local groups, local sponsors, bringing it back. It's exciting. But just being able to get out and experience these memories. They're not even events, they're memories, because that's what you're making is memories, right? And it's great to see everyone out and about. And the only part that sucks about living in Ontario is everyone's so bloody far from everybody else sometimes. Like, I'd love to go out to Sealy's Bay fishing for a day, but it's hard to justify that when it's 5-hour drive one way. But it's great to see, and I'm happy Jim was able to pull that off with all his supporters and sponsors. It was fantastic, and it just gives everyone hope that we're going to have some more great events this year. It's going to be great.
Amen. So tell me some of the stuff that you're starting to see out your way. Obviously, we were talking about sort of the slow start to the season. Things weren't really, aggressively advancing when it came to spawns and certain runs and this and that. But of course, now we have a warm up. We're different than that. Of course, our Western folks who are dealing with a whole different kind of climate. But it was intriguing for me to see along the docks in the shore, close to the shoreline, you've got lots of forage. You've got, the right species now showing up in the right areas. Are you seeing the same thing down your way, or is it even more advanced than that?
Yeah, no, I saw bass like actually spawning yesterday, largemouth. I saw evidence on one place that we fished. I saw evidence of bluegill beds. They have their little colony of bluegill nests all bumped together. So they're busy doing their business. Everything seems to be, I don't know, pretty much right on par where we should be. Like, it's not even June yet. And, I don't think we're behind here anymore. I think we've had just enough warm weather to get things going. The fishing hasn't been fantastic. I was talking with some friends fishing like Long Point Bay, and it's been the water's been kind of murky still, kind of like that spring effect where the water hasn't cleared up yet. It's taken its sweet time doing that. But good point, Alicia. Like, even yesterday, one of the two crappie we caught yesterday, we entered them both. The one was, I think, 11 inches, and it was a male. It was still pretty dark. Like, it looks like it was spawned out. It looked like it was a male that was kind of getting its normal color back, but still pretty dark. So I'm going to guess it was they've probably finished spawning now. What's unfortunate is that at this same spot 2 weeks ago, Trevor caught a 14-inch crappie. Oof. So so the 11-incher is nice, but definitely that 14-incher would have maybe gone a little further in the fish off. But everything seems to be right on par. Even yesterday, we saw carp moving around, saw some long-nosed gar moving around. We're kind of typical for June right now for southwestern Ontario, I'd say.
Now, you have a lot of, well, I should say a few folks anyway, that have been reaching out to you when it comes to, fish identification. And I think all of us need to get better at it, including myself. There have been a few species that have been submitted that I can honestly say you could argue both ways, depending on whether it's a hybrid, whether it's a native species, the sunfish and bluegill and red ear sunfish, that whole species and family. Yeah. It ruins me at times, especially during spawning season, because sometimes, as you just mentioned, the colors are a little off or they're a little different. Yeah. And it could go either way. But you have some great news on for us who need to hone our fish identification skills a little bit better.
So let me walk you through a little Canadian fish ID history, or Ontario fish ID history. And I got some good news to share with everybody. So this here is the Bible. Okay, this is Freshwater Fishes of Canada, soft version. This is actually Heather's. So mine's at work. Mine's in my office. I have a hard copy too that I found on eBay a while ago. And this is literally the Bible of freshwater fish in Canada. You want to read about freshwater fish in Canada, this is the Bible that you want. Trouble is look at the size of this book, right? It's full of information. And in fact, they're not even making them anymore. To buy them, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg on eBay. So back in 2010, I was involved with a project with the Royal Ontario Museum. I'm not an author, but definitely I contributed a few photos and some feedback. And they came out with this. This is the ROM Field Guide to Ontario Fishes. And I know it's just Ontario, but most of the species in Ontario can be found in other provinces. So, there's everything in here. Like there's literally like every species of fish, and it was organized by color. And there's like minnows, sunfish, temperate basses, lamprey, everything, not just sport fish. Literally, I think on the back you can see like literally everything you could think of is in here. Trouble is, they sold out. This was 12 years ago now. They sold out. Now, here it comes. Released this week, Freshwater Fish of Ontario 2.0. So they took that old book, just updated it, more information, some different pictures. The layout's basically the same, and it's not set up for biologists. The biologists and technicians use it. It's really set up for everyone. If you've used a field guide for birds or for plants, it's really set up that way. And before I forget, because I know people are going to be asking me, here's where you could get it. I'm going to copy this. I ordered it directly from the ROM, Royal Ontario Museum bookstore, and I ordered it on Friday, and it arrived today. So, and I think with shipping, it was under $40 for that.
Oh, jeez.
So it's a great book. I recommend people buy it. It's just super informative if you want to be not just an angler, but you want to just study up on fish. It just really it's just a great book. Like I usually keep this like in the living room upstairs. If people come over, people have questions, we'll pull it out. You want to talk about, so even tricky species, Scott. So like let's go through some of the trickier groups of fish that people are going to struggle with.
Sucker
catfishes. So the genus Amiris, so the bullheads, black bullhead, brown bullhead, yellow bullhead, very subtle characters, differences between those different species. The Lepomis genus, which would be bluegill, pumpkin seed, green sunfish, warmouth, orange spotted sunfish, and northern sunfish are all part of those 6 species are native to Ontario, and they actually can hybridize, right? So, quite a lot, and often what sucks is the hybrids are the biggest ones. They get what's called hybrid vigor. So they're the biggest specimens that are out there. And some of the ones, and I know it frustrates some of the CFN participants in the fish off because they'll catch this huge sunfish and the judges might say, that's a hybrid. You have to decide whether it's a bluegill or a pumpkin seed because it looks like it has traits of both. This is just part of the game, part of the contest. Other ones that are similar but don't hybridize, like the catfishes and the bullhead, and the sunfish, are just the suckers, the red horses.
Yeah.
They are all really, I'm biased. I've been studying those fish for 20 years, and they look very different to me, but I know they don't look different to others. And there's some tricks to it. What I highly recommend is with the app, you will have, you're going to take your picture of your fish and your hero shot, and you're going to do your video. You don't have to, but you can do all those. But if it's a fish that, especially those who want to go far in the fish off and want to compete, I'd be snapping a few extra pictures of some of those fish if you're questioning it. Because if the judges reach out to you, I know what's going to, no, this is just me talking. I'm not a judge. And I always stay out of the judging of events when I'm a participant. Like that is straight up. I got to keep it real. Okay. But I would take a few extra photos of some specimens that you might get challenged on.
Yeah.
Because I think that as the judges try to sift through some of the challenging images, it might help you. For example, on bullhead, and Kenneth has a great catfish ID link in the Fish Off group. And if you go into the CFN Fish Off group page, go to the search function, type in catfish ID. First thing that'll come up is Kenneth's, basically catfish ID 101. And the bullheads have different anal ray count. So the fin rays and the anal fin are different for blacks, bullheads, and browns. There's a little bit of overlap, but not much. So you might want to take a secondary picture of the anal fin or of the barbels or different, like that's what I would do. And I know in the fish off in the past, we would submit multiple pictures to help with the ID on some of the trickier specimens. And I think that's the only, maybe I'm going to call it a hiccup. I wouldn't call it a challenge. I'm going to call it a hiccup in the fish off this year's. There's not a spot to put those. I call them at work. I call them verification pictures. So I want to verify what that fish is. I need to take pictures of certain characters of that fish. But I would just tell the anglers, make sure that you take pictures of that fish you caught. So while it's on the board, take a close-up of I tell some people this, clean your bloody camera on your phone. Like take your dry shirt. I do this all the time. Look, I'm cleaning my camera right now. Before you take your picture, when that camera is in your pocket and it's sweaty out, you're sweaty, it's humid, and there's always that fog on your camera. Make sure it's clean. But a typical cell phone camera can take wonderful pictures, and you can zoom in and look at the different features. So I just stress people should do that on some of the species that I mentioned. But again, love the app, dude. I really, really enjoy the app. And even right now, I thought about having Trevor on here tonight, but he's out trying to catch an upgrade right now. So, so here's Trevor, 14 years old. He took his buddy Reese. They walked down to the dam in town, and they're trying to catch a creek chub upgrade right now. And Trevor has the app on his phone. He'll update it. He'll process the picture himself, bring it back. It'll update. And I want to say of the 8, I think we only have 8 points. I think we have 8 species. I'm going to say 3 of them are he caught himself without me around with his high school buddies, just poking around town, fishing different spots. So that's great. That's fun.
Jay, listen, I know Mike's not here, but he's definitely going to be watching this. And thanks for sharing that. Because as I said, some folks, and I understand, some of you haven't been able to use the app like it's supposed to be intended to be used. You've had difficulties with your phone. There has been some growing pains. I'm not going to lie. I would be obtuse to think that there hasn't been growing pains with the change in using the app. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you hear stories like this, that a 14-year-old boy is out trying to upgrade his chub.
It's crazy, man. Dude. It's awesome. I love it. Like, he's like, it's funny when he comes to me and it's like, Dad, do you mind if I go fishing, try and upgrade a creek chub for the fish shop? I'm like, you go, man. You go. So I'm probably going to hop in the van and I'm going to head down, see how he's doing after this is done, to be honest.
Right on.
Now, the only thing that went on around, I'm going to tell you, the only bad thing we've had with the fish off this year, and it's created a little animosity in the household.
Oh,
yeah. So I had to think about, so last year we had to figure out a way to, what's our strategy? Because Heather likes to fish, not as often and as frequently as Trevor and I do. And of course, Stephanie loves fishing. She had her CFN, she had her fishing rod out last weekend, buddy, trying to catch a gar with Dad. But the girls don't always come with us, but they do. But because of the way the fish off is set up, I had to carefully pick who my partner would be. Because if I picked Heather, which is great, but then Trevor, because he's of his age, it's fine. He can still enter fish, but right now he's down at the dam by himself without one of his partners with him. Do you see how that works?
I'm seeing.
So it took some strategy, and and there's pros and cons to both sides of it. So if we go as a family, I'm like, Heather, you can't catch any 4-point fish. Like, I don't know if you should be fishing when we're out here for the fish. I'll say this too, Scottie. This is exactly where Trevor's at with this fish off, and it's exciting. So we're down fishing this local spot yesterday, and number one, he's great with out-of-season bass. If I hook into a bass, he will like jump down on the ground, lay on the ground like Mike Iaconelli, reach over the dock and unhook it in the water and let it go. And it's like you think he's on the Bassmaster Elite Series, right?
That's awesome.
And that's exciting. But what was really cool yesterday was there was this gentleman in the harbor where we were fighting a huge carp on an ugly stick, huge carp. And he didn't have a net, and his daughters didn't have a net. And his daughters were, I'm going to say, they're not young kids. They're older girls. Well, he couldn't land this fish. So I said, Trevor, go get the net, land that guy's fish for him. So Trevor's right down on his knees, on the harbor wall. He lands the fish, and the guy high fives Trevor, and Trevor's happy for landing this nice big carp, probably about 20-pound carp. Then he walks up to me, and he has a sad look on his face. He goes, if only that guy was under 17, Dad. I said, I know, buddy. I know. That's the first thing that came out of his mouth was, if only that guy was under 17 years old, we could have entered that fish. I'm like, you're right, buddy. You're right. But that's okay. You landed his fish for him. And now we know where to come back. And I think there's some hair rigs being strung up tonight after fishing to go try and catch some of those carp that we saw yesterday. So
that is true. That, you know what, that just melts the heart. I love that. But the fact that you're making it a family thing and getting out there, again, kudos to you. That's parenting done proper, in my opinion. But yeah, and the thing is too, for some things that have been said, we have done our very best to try and promote, the Trevors, the Stephanies, the Barnucz family, and all our other families as best we can. The community at large has had a vision, and that vision started when I was 9 years old, and I was on a dock thinking, you know what, it'd be really cool if I could host my own TV show. But I wanted to do it differently in the sense that I wanted to promote other people, other average anglers. How can guys like me, kids, 9, whatever, like me, have their own show? And the CFN Fish Off does that. And, I have to say, I'm just honored and proud that we have the ability to present to our community my vision that I had when I was 9 years old, where we can make you folks the star of the show. And as we have seen year after year, we have a different supporting cast, and we try to get as many CFNers involved in it. So if you see the vision, you see there's method to the madness, you'll buy in, and you'll continue to, submit 912 catches in a week. And yeah.
And I'm going to add, so even yesterday, talk about family. So I'm fishing with Trevor's buddy, Owen, him and Owen played some ball together for a few years. Two good ball players, good buddies, but fishing brought them together in grade school. Owen goes, even Owen, he goes to a different high school locally. But those two kids, when they get together, they're just fishing fanatics. And this fish off brings out, just when I thought fishing with those two kids was great, it gets even better. I'm gonna share this story with you from yesterday. So Owen's mom and dad, I've been friends with Owen's dad for 25 years. We met in high school, went to high school together, and we've become reacquainted because our boys met in grade school. Okay.
Wow.
So, but Owen's dad doesn't fish much, nor does his mom, but Owen's a diehard. So they called me, or they texted me and said, do you mind if we bring some pizza down to the park where you guys are? And I'm like, yeah, you bring me pizza for sure. I'm not going to turn pizza down. So they brought us pizza for supper. So because we were out from 1 o'clock until dark. We got home at 10 o'clock last night. So there we are in this pavilion. I'm having pizza, and I'm watching it's Owen. The two of them look alike, by the way. Look like brothers. I'm watching Owen fish, and I see Owen hook up in the distance, and I see him yell, Trevor, come here. So Trevor goes running over, and I see Trevor dive behind this rock, on the ground. So I picture he's on his knees in the mud. And I guess Owen had a bullhead on, and it came off. So Trevor is trying to grab this bullhead. I see the two of them and I'm like, this is the only contest in the world when you have two anglers like that who are actually fanatical bass anglers, to be honest. And here they are crying over a lost bullhead, because that's where we got our black bullhead last year, was in that spot. So yeah, it was, and I'm just sitting there eating pizza, just kind of proud watching those two morons over there goofing off and catching.
And I hear that. I hear that story a lot. Bill Landry, who, he's out in Saskatchewan and catches a ton of big fish. And he said, and I quote, I have it written down somewhere, I have never been so excited to catch a creek chub in my life. Never thought of targeting these fish, but I've never been so excited catching one. And I've had the CFN Fish Off to thank for that. I love stuff like that.
You're so happy to catch an 8-inch fish. We haven't caught any 4-point fish yet. So everything we've got and everything we've caught are smaller species. It's oh, it's 8.5. Oh, it's 9. and we're high-fiving over these tiny fish, except for one of the red horse we entered, which is like 20 inches, but it's still not big enough to get a lot of points. But it's just been fun, man. It's just been fun. And we got 20 days left? 20 days. So, I got some, we're going to go for a little drive this weekend. I might head down Lake St. Clair way. I got some fish to catch down there. That's such a great fishery. If you want to catch different species, I'm jealous of like Team Bounty Bottoms and others who live so close to those places. Like, I have some great fishing close by, but the diversity down in Essex County and Chatham, Kent, and Lambton County is just awesome. So I'm looking forward to going down there and do some exploring this weekend. The weather looks great, so hopefully the winds lay off. And then after that, Scottie, we're gonna just, I don't know. We're not in it to win it. We made the top 10 last year. I think we came in tied for 9th. And if we can have another top 10 finish, I'll be happy. But either way, we're winning, man. No worries.
Well, and this is it. There are no losers, and you all of you make it very, very difficult when it comes to picking a supporting cast for next year's TV show. And you mentioned the Bouncy Bottoms. They are certainly doing a great job of making an argument to be there, and as well as a host of other teams. But Jay, as always, dude, it means a lot to have you around and pumping the tires of the fish off and everything we do here at CFN. But I want to do the same to you and your friends over at Berkeley. We gave an awful lot of stuff to a lot of very happy kids when it came to Berkeley products. So good on you and the Berkeley family for stepping up in a big way for Jim's event. Because as I said, the loot bags were full with a lot of Berkeley stuff.
You know what, man? With no events the last couple of years, there's a bit of a stockpile of Berkeley stuff that I'm saving for kids this year. Like, I've already got enough stuff for 2 events this year that usually I'm still scrambling for because I've saved it up, and there's a bunch more stuff that's coming. Berkeley is just one of the great companies out there that when you need stuff for events like what just Jim did in Sealy's Bay, they always step up, and it's so great. I'll use that wrestler analogy, man. We're all wrestlers, but we all get off on the same bus, right? So good to hear about all those companies supporting that event, and I'm just so happy that it was able to happen. And you couldn't ask for a nicer weekend. We went and watched a ball game. A friend of ours their son was playing locally at a rep ball game on Sunday morning. Instead of going fishing, we went and watched baseball for the morning, and it was just a beautiful day. Now, of course, after 2 hours of watching their team smoke the other team, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I got my baseball fixed. Now I got So it was just a stellar weekend of weather, and I hope it just keeps going. I hope that we just keep into a nice summer and we can just enjoy this, man.
Amen, brother. Well, listen, you stay classy. Keep up the great work, and hopefully Trevor catches that brown bullhead that he's looking for, and perhaps maybe even that carp that he missed.
We'll see. He's got some serious strategy. I know he's doing some networking for the weekend coming up, so we'll see what happens. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care, Jay. All the best, my friend. As always, I can't thank all of you enough for joining us. It's always, it's been an hour and 25 minutes. It seems like it's been 15. To all of course, our featured guests, I can't thank them enough for all that they bring to our show, as well as all you CFNers who are dedicated enough to show up here each and every Monday. Love you all. Dave Mercer, take us out. But in the meantime, stay classy, stay dry. Hopefully the waters recede a little bit in Manitoba for all of our Manitoba CFNers. But in the meantime, enjoy this weather. If you're here in Ontario and to the east and to the west, hopefully you get a dose of it at some point too. We'll see you tomorrow, Turning Tuesday. All the best, guys. Peace. Take it away, Dave.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.